was 19 years old. I had my first child, a daughter, Erin. I had support from my sister. Her and I were the first ones to breastfeed in our family. She's the only one I didn't have any breastfeeding problems. Minus at the end, she struggled to gain weight, so we ended up as a failure to thrive. We found out she's just a very stubborn little one. Defined her eating habits and not everybody else's, but now she's a healthy 18-year-old. Baby A, her name is Scarlett. She came super fast. They were concerned about her breathing. It was very rapid. She was immediately whisked away to the NICU, but I didn't have time to really put my feelings towards that because I still had baby B, which is my son, Grayson. I had him to deliver. I got the experience of skin to skin. Came out healthy, screaming, and he latched pretty quickly. That moment, I got to breastfeed her, and she was at the breast. I wouldn't say she did the greatest, but she was at the breast for about an hour, and once she was satisfied, I had to put her back in her little bassinets. After that moment, they told me that she did really bad, health-wise. And all that moving and jostling and trying to nurse really just kind of set a downward spiral. So I wasn't able to nurse her again until she was released from the NICU 2 or 3 days later. Really concerned that she wouldn't want to nurse. She went a good while without it and very inconsistent, but I was very surprised. I got her to nurse with her brother, and they did decent. We had to stay in the hospital for a week. My son got discharged and a couple of days later got readmitted for jaundice. That was really challenging because they needed them to be there under the light for a certain amount of time. And it was hard to be able to breastfeed. It was hard to even get to pump just because of the lack of resources that we had, and I didn't have to pump with my first two. It was really challenging and scary, just not knowing when we could go home and worrying about them and not worrying if Scarlett would have another episode with, her heart rate. And when we got home, Scarlett decided that she didn't want to nurse with her brother. So if I had her on first and I then latched Grayson, she would just fight to stay on, and it was a major struggle. It took us 9 weeks to get Scarlett to accept that she needed to nurse with her brother because I wasn't going to nurse twins one at a time. I ended up going through informal milk sharing and got breast milk that way just to supplement mine. I felt ashamed, I'm a breastfeeding mom. I was able to do it twice. I just didn't want to admit that I wasn't super mom. And because everybody was just giving me a lot of praise about being a breastfeeding mom and breastfeeding twins, and I just kind of felt that high, and I guess in a sense I didn't want to let anybody down. I was on WIC during the entire pregnancy and with the first two children. So Linda, our coordinator, was my go-to breastfeeding person, and she's the one that helped me with the twins. She helped with coordinating weight checks and checking in on me and making sure I had everything that I needed. We had a breastfeeding support group that met weekly, and so I got a lot of support there and a lot of help. If it weren't for Linda and Carrie, I'm not sure I would have met my breastfeeding goals, just because it was a real struggle trying to get Scarlett to latch with her brother. For the longest time, I was, nursing them one at a time, and it was just taking time away, what little time I had with my husband and my other children. It can be scary, it really is, but please, 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 ask for help. Don't try to hide the fact that you're struggling in an area, because if breastfeeding is super important to you, you need to get through those challenges. My breastfeeding journey is very unique, and just like any other mom I would talk to or a friend, their journey is going to be just as different and just as unique. So whatever that looks for you, please get that support. Please don't try to hide the fact that you can't do it all, because sometimes we can't. Knowing that I didn't have a lot of trouble with them, I was going to do it, and I got it through. and we ended up nursing for 3 years and 9 months. Main thing I would tell somebody is you're going to need support. You have to ask for help and you have to fight for that. So if something's important to you, you need to make it known. And just because your child is in the NICU, your baby, it doesn't mean that it's game over. I am currently breastfeeding my almost 1-year-old, and I am proud to say that I have become certified to donate to the milk bank. Babies 1 through 4, I was never a good pumper, never really had to pump. So for me to be able to feed my baby and to feed extra babies really feels so good to be able to do. If you need to, I'll hold your hand and listen to you. I offer breastfeeding classes, one-on-ones in person, and we also do a virtual class option. So we're here really to meet your goals. What I tell all my moms, if it's important to you, it's important to me. And as a peer counselor, I take that very, very seriously. Breastfeeding to me means joy. I try to ignore the road bumps and the challenges because at the end, that was all temporary. My first couple, they were on the thinner side, and then with my current baby, Mackenzie, she's just the cutest and chunkiest little thing ever, and it makes me so proud to see her be so healthy because of my breast milk. My breast milk was made for her.